So there's a bit of a change in scenery for about a week. It's Thanksgiving week and I'm back home visiting family, but the news does not stop for anything. So let's just dive right in. Activision, it's been embroiled in all kinds of controversy, with Bobby Kotick recently being ousted for just some of the contributions and the negligence that he engaged in that fostered the awful culture of harassment, discrimination, misconduct, and abuse at Activision Blizzard. And this Wall Street Journal article especially put to light the way Bobby Kotick ignored a lot of the victimization reports and the way he contributed directly by being an abuser himself. And there's a second Wall Street Journal article that I want to cover in this video, whose headline reads, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick tells colleagues he would consider leaving if he can't quickly fix problems. Scrolling down, you'll find details on what the previous article reported on. Basically, Mr. Kotick knew of the misconduct allegations across the company, including rapes, and again, I'm saying it like that so YouTube algorithm doesn't screw up my video just because I said an inappropriate word or whatever, and didn't report them to the company's board of directors. It also detailed misconduct allegations against Mr. Kotick, including when he threatened in a voicemail to have an assistant killed. And since then, we've seen Activision Blizzard shares fall by more than 14% since the publishing of the article. So there is financial damage that has been done, but the board of directors continue to defend Bobby Kotick because the guys made them a lot of money, them and the company a lot of money, and that's what he's good at, making money. But as I've said before, a good leader isn't just someone who knows how to lead an organization or business, but also knows how to, lead its people and treat its people right. And that's where Bobby Kotick is completely lacking. But yeah, the main headline here is that Bobby Kotick has told senior managers he would consider leaving the company if he can't quickly fix the culture problems. And what I tweeted, which is the sentiment that I'll share, is this: then he should step down yesterday. He's had his chance to be a good leader, and for decades, he's been letting this stuff fly. The chance for apologies and forgiveness is done. There is no redemption. The best Bobby Kotick can do at this point is acknowledge his failure, and if he has any shame whatsoever, he should step down, realize he's not a good leader, and get the hell out, and that way, employees will actually start feeling that maybe some progress can happen, because it was under his leadership that all this crap happened, and it will continue to happen because this guy is just fundamentally, on a moral level, just corrupted. The Wall Street Journal reports that he stopped short of saying that he would step down in a Friday meeting with executives of the company's Blizzard Entertainment unit, stating that he would leave the possibility open if misconduct issues across the company weren't fixed with speed. Says the guy who's been actively working against employees' initiatives to try to pave the road for a better Activision Blizzard king, hiring WilmerHale, the union-busting firm, to pretend like they're on the side of employees when they've historically been on the side of corporations and have personal relationships with Activision Blizzard employees. When the executives have been engaging in coercive tactics to try to silence employees, when they've been shredding and destroying evidence. Hell, it was Bobby Kotick himself who wrote the letter that he had Fran Townsend send so that he could hide behind her like a coward, and then apologize for the tone deafness of that letter that he himself wrote, completely dismissing the allegations of harassment and discrimination, completely trying to discredit the DFEH's lawsuit when employees were out and about corroborating everything they were reporting. That was one of the revelations in that Bobby Kotick-focused investigative report by the Wall Street Journal. Just straight up, 100% working against the goal of a better Activision Blizzard, of giving employees a seat at the table. And this guy continues to claim that he's striving to fix the culture when he's the one getting in the way, when he himself is directly part of the problem, not just because he ignored the victims or, hell, fired the victims and protected abusers, but also because he himself was an abuser who treated employees poorly. Now, beyond all that, during these internal meetings that took place across Activision last week, Mr. Kotick and other company leaders met with employees to reaffirm their commitment to a healthy workplace, according to people familiar with the meetings. If they're truly committed to that, then they will fire the leaders who have failed for decades. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say you're committed when you're not doing your due diligence and realizing you're part of the problem and realizing it's time to step down and let somebody else take charge because employees have lost all confidence in you. Bobby, they don't trust you, and they'll never trust you ever again. You're done as far as employees' loyalty is concerned. We've got a significant 1,700 employees who have signed an online petition calling for Mr. Kotick to step down. That's a number that's grown significantly over the course of days, starting out at roughly 500 petition signatures when it was first put out there, and over the days it's grown to 1,700, though it only roughly represents 17% of Activision's approximately 10,000 member workforce worldwide, though a lot of employees have expressed their fears that doing such a thing could compromise their livelihood, that they could be blacklisted from the industry, or that they would see retaliation from Activision itself. So if employees weren't afraid of the executives and the actions that they could take against employees, surely more employees would have signed this. But the circumstances being what it is, and with people having lives, that are relying on this job, yeah, I understand why some people just wouldn't want to ruffle any feathers, but it's also important to understand that for change to happen, there has to come a point where risks have to be taken, a stance has to be taken that's disruptive enough where Bobby Kotick will become too much of a liability to keep around, and that's when the board of directors will move to have him fired. But yeah, top executives straight up told Mr. Kotick at an online meeting on Friday that based on the feedback that they've been hearing, some employees wouldn't be satisfied unless he resigned. Not just some, a significant portion, thousands of employees within Activision Blizzard have had enough. Mr. Kotick said he was ashamed of some of the incidents that had happened on his watch and apologized for how he has handled the unfolding problems. If you really do feel shame, if you're really sorry about not just the way you've been complacent and negligent to all of this, but the way you've directly contributed to these issues, if you have done any sort of introspection whatsoever, you will at least show these traumatized employees the respect of acknowledging that you're not fit for this role and leaving the company. But the fact that he's so adamant about staying, the fact that he's reveling in the board of directors defending him, the fact that he at one point put out this statement stating how if you think I don't have that conviction to address these issues, then you don't appreciate how important this is to me. The fact that he says that while all these allegations are coming out, while he's let all of this fly, while there's plenty of proof out there that these issues are clearly not important to him until shit hits the fan like it has recently, shows that he has no shame, shows that he is not really sorry. It's all about saving face. It's all about damage control for the company and its executives. Nothing about what he's doing right now is for the employees. It's all just been pretending. It's all just been, about trying to establish a certain public image, but not actually executing the actions that would show remorse and shame. The fact that Bobby Kotick thinks that after all these years and all these horrible stories, he can stay and somehow try to make it up to these people, that shows just how deluded he is about himself, how inflated his ego is. Making matters worse, executives and human resources managers held online meetings with groups of employees last week. Some staffers asked whether Activision's recently announced zero-tolerance policy for harassment and other misbehavior applied to Mr. Kotick's past behavior reported by the Journal, attendees said. Others asked whether Mr. Kotick would resign. Managers running some of the meetings said they didn't have specific answers to those questions and reiterated Activision's intention to have a welcoming and inclusive workplace, basically just echoing the same talking points over and over again, expecting that will somehow change people's opinions. As part of their damage control, Activision recently announced a new zero-tolerance policy. They were always supposed to have a zero-tolerance policy that I guess didn't apply until this new for-real zero-tolerance policy got announced, but even now, we're seeing that this zero-tolerance policy isn't actually zero-tolerance, given that Bobby Kotick is getting away with it, and he's trying to absolve himself of his past sins, of his past contributions, and his direct abusing of employees. The fact that the rules don't apply to him goes to show that this new zero-tolerance policy is complete BS. It is just a disguise. It's just another policy that certain people will be above. The people in power, leaders, heads, and people who are within Bobby Kotick's and the executive circle, they're exempt from these policies. And it doesn't help matters that people with influence, like members of the board of directors, many of them have longtime connections to the CEO. They've been pals for a while now, so it's this boys club where, I mean, there's clearly a lot of bias. There's no way they can make an unbiased deliberation as to whether Bobby Kotick is a capable leader, not just in terms of making money, but also how he treats his employees and how he ensures their safety, which he doesn't. I don't believe for a second when he says that I'm leaving the possibility open if the misconduct issues aren't resolved quickly, that he will resign. This is just him biding time. This is just him saying what he knows people want him to say, that maybe he'll consider leaving the possibility out there. But do I think for a second that he's genuinely remorseful in considering the possibility of leaving of his own accord? Hell no. He's just telling what people want to hear so he can bide his time and hope that eventually all of this is forgotten, buried under the rug, and he can just continue to run this company into the ground while making millions off of the backs of his workers and at the expense of exploited customers, you name it. As for the general reaction from gaming enthusiasts, well, one of my favorite responses to my tweet is this one right here from Yuri, which reads, "If I find the problem, I will step down. Person who is the problem." You got Garfield here. I wonder who that's for. And the sign shows no Garfields allowed. This is a very accurate representation of what's going on. Bobby Kotick pretending like he's not part of the issue. This is basically a mafia boss coming out and saying, I will work hard to solve crime in this city. Just the frickin' irony and hypocrisy there. Game developer Rami Ismail had a good take here. If I fucked up something for 30-ish years in a row at my job, I don't think I could still say I'll consider leaving if I can't fix things with speed, but apparently in Kotick's world, that's how things work. Just the audacity of this guy to mention speed and expediency of resolving these issues when he was happy to let this stuff fly for decades, and when he's still actively working against a better Activision Blizzard work culture. The root cause of the problems within this company is saying, I will resolve the issues within this company, but also saying, I'm not going to leave this company. I'll only consider the possibility. Some of the memes and GIFs people have been posting are entirely accurate, like this famous image of a guy shooting himself. And here is the same lady going in this vicious cycle of backstabbing herself and resolving her own issues. Here's a SpongeBob image of him looking out for a wanted maniac who happens to be himself, but he seems none the wiser. And then this image with a subtitle, we're all trying to find the guy who did this, says the guy who did this. You cannot in the same breath say we want to resolve the awful culture within Activision Blizzard and also say we are going to keep Bobby Kotick around and we support his leadership, when his leadership is exactly why that culture permeated in the first place. These are two contradictory stances, and so long as Bobby Kotick remains head of Activision Blizzard, them saying we have the conviction to resolve the problems within the company, that will always be a lie. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, this is a fire that's still burning hot. There's so much pressure now to remove Bobby Kotick as CEO of Activision Blizzard that it may very well happen. But then again, executives and CEOs have gotten away with so much because of the power and influence that they hold. So it's not an assured thing, but this is certainly the closest we've ever come. And there's certainly at least a light at the end of the tunnel, as long as we keep on and stay the course, as long as employees continue to be outspoken and disruptive, so long as companies like Xbox and PlayStation, whose bosses have admonished and expressed their criticisms and their disgust at the circumstances surrounding Activision Blizzard, as long as they also hold Bobby Kotick's feet to the fire, as long as government organizations and regulators come in and do their thing, so long as the assault on all fronts and the pressure on all fronts stays steady and keeps rising, and as long as actions continue to speak louder than words. But time will tell. Until then, though, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Bobby Kotick's statements as reported by Wall Street Journal in regards to the possibility that he'll leave if the issues within the company aren't resolved expediently enough. Share your thoughts below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.